Have you found Cass yet?
No.
Gotta keep playing.
Bro, he's not here yet.
He's gone,
Yeah.
bro.
I heard someone I saw like a YouTube short that I kind of wish I didn't see, but it was like too good for me to look away. It started out with like, "Where is Cass in Tears of the Kingdom?" like that AI voice, and I was like, "Oh shoot." And then they're just like speculating like where he could be, and I'm like, "Oh, so he probably not here then." Like he could be, but he probably not.
Nah, people think he's gonna be in DLC if they make DLC.
Good old Cass. Just abandoning his kids, what kind of example does that
Right?
set for
White
dads every day?
kids living back in the roost with like no dad. What's up?
He
with
had to
that?
go get some milk, man.
He needed that Lon Ranch milk from N64. He's gonna be gone for a while.
Yikes.
He needs that special stuff. I forget what it's called though.
Michael's secret stuff.
No, that special milk you get,
Oh,
like Chatis or something like that.
Chateau Romani.
Yeah, he's looking for that Chateau Romani, man. He's on an epic voyage.
Like 200 rupees a bottle. And you gotta be a member of the club.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got some proving to do, man.
Welcome to the A4NB4Y podcast, the Zelda themed podcast where we go chapter by chapter through Tears of the Kingdom. I don't know what episode number this is, but last episode we covered going through Hyrule Castle and talking about Hateno Village. And we didn't really cover much of Hateno Village, but we did focus on some Zelda-oriented things like her house. This episode, we are heading to Death Mountain. Dun dun dun. My name is Anthony, and I am a 2-liter of protein.
My name is Ryan Fonzie, and I am episode 60.
Hey, episode 60.
I'm Cameron Hagee, a sad doge riding the Hogwarts Express that ate too many chocolate-covered toads and now has a tummy ache because chocolate doesn't agree with me because I'm a dog.
Oof.
Oh, wow. I hope you didn't eat too many, man. You can
Nah, it's alright.
have serious heart problems.
Nah, Wingardium Leviosa, my guy.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Accio Health.
Yeah.
Akio heart health.
Them Cheerios.
Been doing a lot of cardio lately. I can handle the chocolate. So, guys, Death Mountain. It's a big mountain. It's actually pretty close to where we were before because we ended on castle, Hyrule Castle and all that. Yeah, a little bit further north. I mean, you know it, you love it. It's been in every game, including Breath of the Wild. So
I didn't really die much on this mountain, so I don't know why they named it that.
no.
Yeah, it almost
but,
seems like there's nothing hot about it.
Why
Not-
would there be?
Not on the surface.
Maybe like there's no, mountain lava. Or is it even a volcano? Is it just a fake cano?
It's a fake Kano. It's a faux Kano.
Oh no.
Oh no, what?
It's just a mountain with a bad rap.
Okay. Faux like FAUX, my guy.
Yeah, no, I know.
Okay. This rabbit hole goes deeper than I thought.
It never stops.
Yeah, so the volcano is chill. It's chill in this game. It's not so cold you need like a sweater or nothing, but
Yeah, there's no
it's also
giant
not so hot that
salamander
you need
stomping around.
protection unless you go underground.
Yeah, you're not gonna burst into flames, like what you might expect.
Yeah, I definitely thought I was gonna need some fireproof elixir. And then when I got up to where it used to be hot, it was like, actually, you're good. I was like, oh, okay. I guess I'm good. Didn't expect that. But if we do head this way, I mean, because this is our second natural phenomena, right? So we're here to investigate. And I don't know about y'all, but I tried to go the standard route up the mountain, which led me to this Bedrock Bistro.
Mm.
Have you guys eaten at this fine establishment?
Mm-hmm.
Don't believe I have.
You got to do a little something to unlock it, though, don't you?
You do. Also, you can't eat here because it's like it's Goron food. But you come up, and I guess for those of us who haven't done this little side quest, you come up to the couple of dudes, Cook, who's the Goron, who happens to be the cook of the Bedrock Bistro, and Mezer, or Mezer, Mezer, the Hylian. He's got like an afro, who's like in an argument with him when you come up. And I mean, clearly Cook is the one who's like inciting this whole event, because he's like, red-eyed Goron. He's eating himself a big old thing of marbled rock roast. And this is like, I guess this is like the introduction that I got to marbled rock roast, because the whole conflict here is that Mezer ordered this rock roast that was like world renowned, right? He's like, oh, I heard about this roast, I gotta try it. Didn't realize it was actually made of rock. He thought it was just like a marketing thing. Couldn't eat it. So Cook got angry with him. He's like, you wasted a rock roast. That's not okay. By anyone's standards. You got to go get me a new one. There's some in the caves nearby. And Mezer's like, I cannot go into these caves. They're way too hot. There's no way I'm going to get one of these rock roasts. But Cook won't let him leave until he gets him a replacement. And that's where you come in as Link. So which one of you said that you actually did this quest?
I did. Yeah. I did it.
Okay, so probably like a year ago, right?
Just about. Yeah, I think, I don't know exactly like the way to have done this, but what I did was I went to, I want to say that it was the cave that had the flame elemental armor in it, which is like sort of north from this location towards the actual center of the volcano. And that's actually where I found it. I don't think I actually went to the cave that they had intended.
There's 2 caves that I think have marbled rock roast at the end of them. And I don't remember if either of them actually had armor in them or not. But maybe there was marbled rock. I don't know. The game, listen, like the game does direct you to one of 2 caves. And you can complete this mission either way. I don't know if there's other rock roasts around, but according to what you're saying, maybe there are. I don't know. I never saw them anywhere else.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know exactly where I was. Death Mountain kind of confuses me, like the layout, because I'll think I'm going one way, and then I ended up actually going like south.
Oh yeah.
And
It's
I
like
try to use the volcano as like a landmark, essentially. Like, all right, if the sun's pointing north and I'm staring at the volcano this way, yeah. So I get lost all the time.
I totally get that. So you can get this rock roast for this guy. Mezer trades you like a large zonai charge for the rock roast, which is his way of being able to then give that same rock roast directly to Cook so that he'll chill. Though he doesn't really, I mean, he's still got the red eyes. He's still kind of going crazy, which is also part of the problem of what's going on at Death Mountain. Because this natural phenomenon doesn't seem like too many people are really struggling with it. That's probably the wrong way to say that. The whole Goron race is kind of subject to this, and it's actually really bad for them. But they're all addicted to marbled rock roast.
Yeah.
So the ones who are addicted don't see the issue because they're all just kind of in a hypnosis. And the ones who are actually suffering are the ones who aren't addicted to marbled rock roast.
Don't do rock roast, kids.
namely the kids of the Goron race and the elders. In fact, this is where I learned about all of it. Like right here at this Bedrock Bistro is where I got all the lore I pretty much needed to run me through the rest of the story.
So did you actually like go into town from the front, like where the gate is, or the main gate, I guess?
Yeah.
So did you end up talking to those two Gorons that kind of like chase you down a little bit?
Oh, they straight up like try to give Link a shakedown.
Yeah.
Yes,
That
I
was
did talk to them.
that was my entrance to Goron City, and I'm like, just like, why do they have red eyes, and why are they eating this steak? Like, nothing was explained to me, and they're just being complete jerks. And then they're trying to like sell me on some diamonds for like 5,000 rupees, or maybe it wasn't those guys. I'm pretty sure it was those guys. They were like, "Oh yeah, one diamond. It's 5,000 rupees." Yeah, that one. You got that? I'm like, oh, okay, something's going on here.
I forget how that resolves. Doesn't someone else come up and stop them?
I think it's a Gerudo.
A Gerudo comes up, like probably the one who actually sells gems for a living.
Yeah,
So don't let these guys swindle you.
I think she comes up and like tells them the what for. It could have been a Gerudo. I don't remember.
Not only are they addicted to rock roast, but all of their moral characters have been.
Man, I don't care what I gotta do. I just need some rock roast, man.
Yeah, gotta make that cash for more rock roast. Sorry, rewind for a second. There's some more stuff about the Bedrock Bistro that I want to talk about before we go into town. This is where you'll meet Gomo, who's not addicted to the rock roast. I think he's the only non-traveling adult Goron who's not addicted to rock roast. Like not elder, just straight up like regular adult age, I guess. Because he is a flint connoisseur and he only wants flint, but he only wants ripened flint.
What?
And exactly, and you can only know if it's ripened if you eat it. So it's like a gambling system where Link can give him an X amount of flint, and he'll eat it and then determine whether or not there was any ripe flint in the batch. And if there was, you get 1,000 rupees.
Whoa! I never did that, and now I need to do that.
I think it's 1,000, but it's a lot. Whatever he gives you, it's definitely worth it. Yeah, I did it once. Like I just gave him the max amount because I have stupid amount of flint in this game.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually did have ripened flint, and then I was a little bit wealthier, and I was like, "Thank you, sir." And then I didn't do it again because I was like, I don't think the probability is going to be in my favor every time. But across from him in this same bistro is this couple of Gorons, Baron and Tool. Tool is a kid Goron, and Baron is a adult Goron who's addicted to the rock roast and is just nomming on this rock roast. Tool is kind of disappointed in it's either Baron or Borin. I have it written Baron here. He's disappointed in Baron because Baron wanted his whole life to get a career with the Yonobo Co. So name drop there. Yonobo Co. is clearly Yonobo's company that he founded, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So he wanted to get into this career path, and he finally did. But now all he can do is constantly eat. He's just sitting there eating. And Tool makes a few comments that are really kind of disheartening. One is he's like a stranger to me, and the other one is like, it's all he does anymore. It's like he's not even my brother anymore. Like that's just the relationship that they had. He's like, he's always wanted to get these, like, achieve these goals, and he finally did, and now he's gonna waste it because he can't leave this rock roast behind. Kind of a heavy little scene that they put in here. Definitely hit me in a certain kind of way, and I want to talk about it a little bit more later once we figure out how some other Gorons have been affected. But this kid Tool is also one who explained to me that the kids in the elder Gorons, they can't eat the marbled rock roast because their teeth can't handle the crunch. Like they just don't have, like the kids don't have teeth that are developed yet enough, I guess, and the elders are probably worn down too much at their age. So only the adult Gorons that aren't elderly can eat these rock roasts. And it's like sweeping the Goron nation. So
I think even most of the shops that, like, when you talk around to the Goron shops, I've all raised the prices of literally everything. And even the was it the swordsmith or the blacksmith Goron? He also is just, I think, like, him and his partner, like, either it was his partner who's fine or he's fine. They're just like talking about, like, the other person's just like on rock roast, like not really focusing, not doing anything, and they're like, I can't really do anything without this being the case. This is like every shop and every single like function of export or import from Goron City is just locked down.
It's just roasted.
Yeah, I think it was the brothers from, like, in Breath of the Wild, it was the brothers where one stayed in the building and the other one was like lost in a cave somewhere trying to find the hero's treasure. But then got like tired and needed to get a regular like the what's it called? The Goron, the sirloin, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you had to go get the sirloin steak for him.
At 50 ounce sirloin.
Well, it was like a stone sirloin or whatever. It's just another reference to other games. But that the brother who needed the sirloin is the one who got addicted to rock roast, of course. And the older brother who was like the good cook and I guess a blacksmith, he's the one who has not gotten addicted, and he's like one of the only people in town who hasn't, who qualifies to be.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's the one who makes our super duper awesome weapon after we do the super duper stuff. You know what I'm talking about?
Gotcha. I don't think I've actually gotten that one, but I know what you're talking about.
I think it's a diamond and then 5 of something else, or maybe it's just 5 diamonds. I don't remember.
Yeah, it's a lot. The special weapons always cost too much for me in resources. I'm like, I don't want to give you all that. Something that's gonna break in 20 hits. Come on.
Yeah.
The most, like you said, most of the shops are overpriced. There's some Goron selling gems, but they're definitely not worth buying. Then there's the only thing that hasn't gone up, but instead has gone down in price, is the clothing shop. And the reason for that is Death Mountain's not hot, so nobody needs the heat protection clothing anymore. So their prices have dropped. They don't feel like they dropped that much. They're still pretty expensive.
Yeah.
But that is part of the, what the owner says. Like, oh, nobody wants to buy these clothes anymore. What good are they? now give me like 1,000 rupees for a piece. I'm like, come on, guy.
It's like, what's a 1% discount? Where else are you gonna find that?
So yeah, I mean, I did a little tour. I remember coming in here and talking to everybody, but I mean, I didn't make note of anything other than, kids and the elderly aren't addicted. All the adults are.
And you can talk to the past village chief who always has a broken back too. Yeah,
this is Bluto. When you find Bluto, he's scolding a collapsed crewmate. I don't know why I wrote it like that. Sorry, my handwriting's really, really terrible. He's getting on the case of another Goron who's collapsed by like the central feature of the town. It's kind of like whenever I think of it, I think it's like a wishing well, but it's definitely not that. I actually don't know what it is. It's like a bunch of rocks stacked up or something. But he's out there. He's like, oh, not you too. I like, after all my warnings about the rock roast, like, you went ahead and got addicted to it anyway.
So
just like knocked out.
Funny thing about that central statue, it's actually, I don't know what it was before. I don't know what it was before, but right now it is like about 20 marbled rock roasts just roasting, steaming up, stacked on top of each other.
Oh, that's right. It's just a whole bunch of marbled rock roast.
Like a marbled rock roast bonfire.
Yeah, it's like the Yiga banana parties just with rock roast.
They're smoking out the place.
Wow. I think the innkeepers were even complaining about the smoke because they're elderly, so they're not addicted to the rock roast. And they were like, "Oh, the smoke from this marbled rock roast is just too much." But they're still trying to do business through it. So everybody who's not addicted is just miserable. So yeah, you talk to Bluto, and he's trying to warn people against this rock roast. When all of a sudden Yonobo shows up, and overhearing this conversation, he's like, "I hear you talking about how the rock roast is bad. I don't see any problem with it." He's just like super bully mode.
He's also Matador Yonobo.
Yeah, he shows up. He's got a gold mask on. He's got a gold chain with the Goron symbol, like gold plated, looking like the Bang CEO.
Lucho Libran.
You call him 50 rupee.
Get out of here.
That's what he looked like to me, was a rapper.
Okay. But yeah, he's got the gold luchador mask and everything too. It's ridiculous. He got a leopard vest on, which is interesting. That reminds me of the construction bosses, right, of the past. And he just comes in like marbled rock roast tycoon. He's not addicted to it. He's just the guy. He's just the guy working to mine it up. So he's not taking kindly to any kind of threats to his business.
Yeah, he doesn't bite into his own supply.
No, not at all.
And this sort of shocked me when I first walked in on this, because we leave him off in the last game as like, yeah, we know he kind of like saved the day or like helped you save the day, but he was still kind of a scaredy cat. Like he was awkward, nervous, was not good in speech, public conversations, had social anxiety, and was just super like not even aware of his own abilities that he had. And then comes into this like this super arrogant dude who's just like fully aware he's like the boss. I'm like, what? I mean, I know it's been like, 5-6 years, but like, what?
But, he's wearing a mask.
Lord of the Flies style. He doesn't feel like he needs to be himself. He can do whatever. He got that anonymity breeding that animosity, bro.
I don't think he's anonymous, though.
I mean, everyone knows who he is.
He shows up with two of the Goron kids, oddly enough. Slurgo and Offrak.
I'm sorry, Slurgo's a funny name.
Yeah, so when he comes up and he's having his whole thing, he's like, "Someone Slurgo, remind Bluto like who runs Goron City now." And Slurgo's like, "Yonobo-ko," and they're like scared, but they're acquiescing because big old Yonobo's bullying them into it. And then he's like, "And Offrak, like, you tell Bluto who's in charge of Yonobo-ko." He's like, "Yonobo." He's like, "That's right." And he has this whole bit. I'm like, "Yonobo, what happened to you?" Like, even when he sees Link, he's like, "Oh, it's you. What are you doing here?" Like, he's just super snarky for no reason.
Pride cometh before the fall.
Yeah. So Link mentions he's looking for Zelda. Bluto's a little confused by it, but the kids are like, "Wait, isn't that like the chick that Yonobo's been talking to? Like the blonde-haired girl, right?" And like Yonobo gets real defensive, and he's like, "Don't say anything. Like, keep your mouth shut. Like, either way, we got to get out of here. We can't keep her waiting." Like, he just straight up gives that off that is exactly what's happening. And so he leaves. They all go back to Yonobo-ko HQ. That's in the northern mine.
And we follow him.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're not tolerating that disrespect.
And also, we want to help Yonobo, because this ain't Yonobo. I don't know what happened to my guy, but he ain't that sweet, harmless, socially awkward little grown kid that he was before, because he definitely didn't really seem like an adult with how he acted.
Mm-hmm.
But now he is, he's a crime lord syndicate man over here. Yo, who's in charge of this place? Yeah, who's in charge of that? That's what I thought. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, he's definitely got some issues going on. I feel like there's a pretty heavy commentary because the story is going to change real quick into a Legend of Zelda story. So before we get there, I just want to say that this whole marbled rock roast addiction that only affects young adults, basically, doesn't affect the kids, doesn't affect the elders, at least not directly. Because they did that, because they made it that way, I think that it really highlights kind of the devastation that happens when the working. I'm trying to think of how to phrase this. Like, without coming up with some kind of weird name for working age adults. It's like it's
The
just
working
interesting
class.
well, sure, but they're the ones that are responsible for the kids, but also like who make the environment, make or break, I should say, the environment for the elderly as well. Like they have this responsibility to try to keep their society functioning the way it should. And it just kind of highlights what happens when they all kind of turn to vices instead.
It's like if the millennials of today, because like it's kind of that age group in a way. I mean, obviously there's outliers, like 18 to probably 60 in real world, but like it's like if the millennials like all of a sudden just all found sweet, what was the word I'm looking for?
Rock roast.
No.
I mean,
Serotonin?
Yes. Dopamine releases of just having
dopamine.
marbled rock roast, and it's like kind of like that. Like they're just happy with the rock roast, and nothing else will make them happier in that moment, and so they're not doing anything else.
Yeah,
responsibilities,
and society's collapsing around them for it. And I mean, listen, like the hardest this whole messaging hit me was with the whole like older brother who was so addicted he couldn't like even leave the table, and the kid who was just kind of stuck there watching this happen. I was like, man, like as a parent, that kind of hits deep. Like, if I'm at home just doing my own thing while Millie's still like up and wants to play with dad, I'm like, yo, I can't just be doing my own thing. I mean, not that I do that, but it's just like, to me, that scene was so sad because of that. Like, because I was able to relate it to a real world example like that of like, man, I can't imagine just being so caught up in this one thing that I can't even like take care of my younger relative anymore,
And just to add on to that point, so as I was playing the game, I started to think of like, all right, so they had to think of ways to like nerf the races and like make the story seem like, oh well, the big bad or the entities of evil in this game. There had to be a way to like nerf the races so that like their society would collapse and not be able to help Link, and it would like, or they wouldn't be able to get the secret stones and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, the Rito one makes sense because secret stone. The Rito one makes sense because snow and visibility and birds. That is like the Gorons are so tough. Like, how do you nerf the Gorons? And it's just so funny when you really think about it, because it's like lava, no. Drought. I mean, they are on a mountain. You can't really flood a mountain because all of Hyrule would be flooded. I was just like thinking of ways, and then it's like almost impossible to think of ways to like destroy Gorons. They live on a mountain. They have unlimited supply of rocks. It's like, oh wait, poison their food supply. The ancient Japanese technique. And I'm just like, of course that's the way.
Yeah, or get him addicted to some kind of dopamine inducing drug version of the regular food.
Yeah.
The roast.
They just drugged up their food.
And so that puts Yunobo in a very peculiar position, being the one who's actually pushing for this to be happening. Because again, it's like the flip side of that coin. It's like, even if you're the person who profits off of it, or the person who is driving it, or the person who's motivated by career to that extreme, where you're still not taking care of the people in your life, like it's like, you might think that because you're so productive that you're helping society, or that you're creating a system that works, but the truth is you're actually still just destroying lives. So yeah, some statements.
Looking at you, Mafia.
That is not who I was, but okay. if that avoids any kind of political backlash that we might get for the other statements I've made in this episode, then we're looking at you, Mafia.
I never said what kind of mafia.
All right. So this is the setting. We go chase down Yonobo, where
Comedy.
we will soon be playing The Legend of Zelda once again and not thinking about any of these other daunting things.
Yeah, not playing LA Noir over here.
So yeah, my notes now are gonna start to thin out a little bit because it's all just boss fights from here. So if anybody else wants to expound on what it's like to find Yonobo,
I mean, we get hired at Yonobo Co., so that's cool, you know?
we get hired. I forgot about that. We get hired.
Yeah, bro. We go up to Yonobo Co. HQ after we have this whole like situation with Yonobo because we're like, we're not tolerating this. You're a friend. And you said, what do you want? Like, what? So we go to Yonobo Co. hoping to find him. And I think there's a human working there. And he's just kind of like running the place. And he kind of like sets you up with a job and it's like, all right, if you're ready to go down to the mines, get going, blah, blah, blah. And then I think there's like he tells us to like start working on the marbled rock roast mine that's like outside of there, and that's like sort of the cave I think where we see Zelda or Yonobo over in that area.
Well, I will say when you get to the HQ, you do see Zelda. Like you see it's but it's not like the first thing. I think you first see Slurgo and Offrack.
Yeah, you follow the kids to the cave entrance, and then they're like, you gotta help Yonobo, he's right down there. And then you kind of walk a little farther, and that's where you hit a cutscene where you see Yonobo talking to mysterious blonde lady.
Yeah, but when you finally
then she leaves.
She disappears.
Yeah.
But he's not entirely thrilled to see you. He turns into a boss fight pretty quick.
And he's a bulky boy.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you throw at him, he don't take damage.
I love his subtitle though. Like his boss title. It's a fight against clearly not himself, Yonobo. Which I just thought was hilarious.
Yeah.
Like the game's trying to reassure you, like, you're not trying to kill this guy, just so you know. Like, yes, fight him. Don't worry about it. When his health gets to 0, he's not gonna die. He's clearly just not himself right now. That's fun.
And also he breaks his own, I think, later dialogue. Slight spoilers later, he says that he can't really see when he's going into a ball to like direct himself on where he wants to roll. But during this boss fight, that completely goes out the window because he has perfect homing on you everywhere you go. You could move half an inch and he'll follow you perfectly. You cannot get away from this man's homing instincts as he's charging up his sonic roll attack and about to just dash at you max speed.
Yeah.
However, he's not 100% accurate, so if you keep running, by the time he starts moving, he'll miss you and then hit a wall, and that's when he becomes vulnerable.
Yeah, so we smack this guy around quite a bit.
Mad easy.
It's true.
I think what we end up doing is knocking the mask off, right?
It breaks off, it crumbles.
Yeah, straight
It's all
up.
anime style.
Like King Helmasaur style. Just shatters, right?
Yeah. And then we got Yonobo back. Whoop, whoop. And he's like, what have I been doing?
Mm-hmm.
It's like you've been terrorizing all of Goron City. But hey, don't sweat it. You're wearing a mask. we
Clearly wasn't you.
We recalibrate Yonobo. He offers to take us up the mountain to where he first met Zelda, where she taught him about the marbled rock roast in the first place, and gave him the mask, apparently. Yeah.
Zelda's bad guy.
Well, is she though? But is she the? I don't want to spoil anything, but
I mean,
I don't know. Hard on this point.
I think she is. I mean, just from what we've seen, she's been behind the scenes, instrumenting everything that's been wrong.
Here's what I'm gonna say.
Evil.
When we get, by the time we get to the point where all of the NPCs finally kind of get on the same page about what's going on, we are going to be so frustrated by the fact that we already caught on to it.
Yeah.
That it's not even funny. It's like really got like Link is just not sharing the information that he has because clearly something is up.
He
But
knows.
this is like the first major question mark of like, why would Zelda give Yunobo a mask? And you might be able to do some mental gymnastics and say like, well, maybe she wanted Yunobo to find a certain cave, or maybe she felt like if the Gorons weren't going through something, that Link wouldn't show up. And a mild addiction isn't really, that dangerous. So maybe we just needed something to coax Link over here with. But that's all that's like really, really a stretching,
Very stretching.
It's really just mad suspect that like this Zelda that the game doesn't really want to show us the face of too much has been kind of heading up all of these issues so far. So
and if you've been doing any if anyone's been following around with any newspaper quests with Pen, you also find some like hilariously fun but yet simple Zelda related issues as well.
Yeah, and it's funny, those quests go back and forth too. Between like some NPC being like, oh yeah, me and Zelda were on this project together, it was the best thing ever, and then other people are like, that wasn't Zelda.
Yeah. Zelda would never tell me to say that. She'd never tell me to dance around naked. Because that's actually what she tells like a bunch of people, like an entire research team is to like just become naked.
Well, yeah, there's a misunderstanding.
Their underwear. They were in their underwear. Yeah.
That is a thing that we will be talking about when it comes time to do the Lucky Clover quests. Ridiculousness.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere you go. But we're way off track here. Mountain.
Going up that mountain.
So we climb the mountain with Yunobo. I mean, this is a big old train track that'll just take you right up there if you're willing to take it. I think that's the way you actually have to like one of the mechanics of the game that I did not realize until way later is that when you have a sage companion that's not Tulin, so they can't fly to wherever you are, you actually have to help them get places, which is interesting. So like if you just kind of climb the mountain, I don't know how well Yunobo can climb with you. But if you are riding in a minecart, he turns into a ball and rolls around on the front of the minecart, where you can shoot him off of the minecart, and then he magically bounces back to you the whole way. So that's like a thing. So I think if you don't use the minecart, like Yunobo just doesn't work that way. I think that's the whole point of it.
I got up there with a wing and a rocket, and he does the same thing on the wings. He like floats on the edge of it.
Yeah, cool.
I don't remember how it works here, but I'm pretty sure I just got him to I got far enough away from him that he just kind of whooped right up next to me when I couldn't see him.
He can't. Okay, so they can do that even when they're physical.
Yeah, it definitely happened to me later on where he did that.
Yeah, there is one of these phenomena. There's a time when the game specifically does not do that.
I think I know what you're talking about.
In order for a dungeon to work properly. And it's actually really smart because it makes the dungeon way more engaging because of it. But we'll get to that another time.
Hey. Teaser.
Yes, that's the one. So anywho, we get Yunobo up this mountain where he's finally like, that's where she was, right? And he points out this little plateau, and you actually see Zelda there for a second. And she disappears once again, but you go running up, and the mountain like comes alive. It's like something out of Monster Hunter, except maybe not quite as crazy. But this is rising from the Death Mountain crater, Moragia.
Yeah, it was really epic.
Yeah,
and easy.
It was also easy.
Well, I think it's hilarious that the game's like, oh, what are we gonna do? And the monster's like made out of marbled rock, which I guess we should have explained. Marble rock roast is mined out of marbled rock, which is just like a red lined stone that's too hard for regular bombs and other methods. Like you can't just smash it like you can other rocks. You need Yonobo to break them, which is probably why Yonobo Co. is the leading, distributor of marbled rock roast. So this monster's made out of marbled rock, which is your major hint. It's like, how are we gonna get up there and do this thing? They put a wing like right at the top of this platform where you're at.
Yeah, and fans, I think, and maybe even
fans,
a rocket.
Control stick, I think, too. Everything you need to go for a little Yonobo launching joyride. Yeah, you can make your perfect little plane to go do a bombing run on this Miragi. I don't even remember how Miragi attacks because I didn't get hit by it at all.
It shoots meteors at you, and they kind of like home in on you, and you just have to like dodge very slowly by leaning lazily to the left or right.
I was gonna.
Yeah.
There you go. That's the joke I was looking for. List lazily to the left. Was that Spaceballs? That had to have been, right?
No, I think it was.
He's listing lazily to the left.
I think that was Star Wars Family Guy.
Oh, yeah, that would have been
That's where I remember it from.
Okay.
What do we do, Captain? He's leaning lazily to the left.
Unless Spaceballs did it first, because it did come first. I don't know.
I don't know that they did. I think they just had the jamming of the radar with an actual jar of jam. some nonsense in those Star Wars spoofs. They're all good though. Gotta love tangents, y'all. But yeah, you can dodge these things pretty easily with some classic maneuvers, like taking your hand off the control stick to see if your alignment is in tune.
And it just I think there's 3 of them, and it just takes 1 hit for each of them. So
yeah, 1 or 2. It's not a lot. It's a very fast fight. I remember it being over very fast. I was like, really, that was it? But of course, this is our first unique mini boss pre-temple to show us how to use the sage effectively.
True.
This will happen with the other 2 phenomena.
What? Spoilers.
I'm not going to say what we fight or why or how. But yeah, this is the first time it happens. Because when I first saw this boss, I was like, I'm going to have to fight this thing twice. Like, what? There wasn't a temple. Like, why am I fighting this massive boss? And then I got up there and hit it, and it, crumbled to dust. And I was like, something's up. Like, that doesn't seem right. This can't be what the whole point of this is. But just the size of it alone, I was like, well, maybe. Like, he gives you that moment of like, this seems like a major event, and then it turns out it's just not. The epic introduction. So then we are able to. We just jump right into the volcano, right? There's a chasm. Yeah, we can jump down into the Death Mountain chasm. I mean, you don't have to get to where we're going. You can get there from the depths because that's where we go. And in the depths, there is a fire temple.
So I just want to say, I got into the depths, and it wasn't probably more than a minute or 2 from jumping into the chasm. I was exploring, and I found a couple bokoblins, and one of them had, like the basket of like choo-choo jelly that they carry, or like whatever items they carry. So I killed the guy with the basket, and as I was picking up the choo-choo jelly, I either it was red choo-choo jelly or it turned to red choo-choo jelly because it was hot.
Right.
And as I was picking it up, I was just furiously tapping the A button, and Yonobo happened to like because he teleports sometimes, like when you like get too far from him, or he like gets somewhere you can't go. So like he like teleports because I like jumped off of a rock, and I had accidentally clicked onto him and like just instantly sent him into a red choo-choo jelly, and they like all 4 exploded and just killed me. And I was like, all right, fire temple, yeah. Great.
This kind of experience has become a meme with the sages, because they all kind of have this problem.
Mm-hmm.
I think the one that I've seen was like Link is bending down to pick up an apple or something, and Toolin's like, "Guys, Link's trying to pick something up," and then you just see a big gust come through and like throw the apple. Meanwhile, Yonobo's like rolling down towards it because
This didn't happen to me.
your action button can get overruled by a sage at any time.
Yeah.
Just mess you up.
This didn't happen to me, but I saw a meme where some dude just like spent like 5 of the big charges on a gashapon in the sky, and then like as he like was about to collect it, he clicked Toolin, and they just like more than half of them flew off the edge, and I was sad for him.
That reminds me of when I would accidentally shout in Skyrim. I remember one time I was in like it was like the Beast Brotherhood or whatever it's called, where they're actually all werewolves, spoiler. But they have a very heavily decorated interior hall. Like where everybody sleeps and everything. They have this big they had a big buffet set up with a whole bunch of candles and plates and platters and goblets and whatever. And I just remember hitting Foos and watching it all fly across the room in different directions. And it's just like my guy just sneezed and everything was gone.
Get this stuff to Foos out of here.
The members of the clan weren't even mad at me. Like, they might have been like, please stop shouting or something like that. And I was like, oh yeah, sorry. But I had to stop playing for a minute just to laugh because it was the dumbest thing. It had no consequence, no bearing on the story whatsoever. But you could just accidentally shout and send all the little like flavor items everywhere. Oh gosh, but yeah, Toolin be like that sometimes.
You do be doing that.
So yeah, I mean, you can see the fire temple from where we drop, but it is a little bit of a hike to get up to it. Because where you drop down through the volcano, if that's the way you go, they put you on the other side of a pretty sizable field. I think you have to climb up some cliff sides a little bit and make your way over to it. But it's it's not hard to do. I don't feel like.
Mm-mm.
So it's not really the focus of this episode. But when we do get in the fire temple, we see some stuff go down. For one, you get towards the middle and you get this cutscene of ominous Zelda walking into the middle of this room and just a bunch of marbled rock like carrying her up to the ceiling and then sealing her into the ceiling. At least that's what it appeared like to me. I was like, I do not know what's going on and why she just got Gara'd into the ceiling with all of this marbled rock, but okay. And that's kind of like our inciting, like, okay, this is where we need to get to. We need to get into this room. But we can't get into the room right now because there's a set of 5 locks keeping it from opening. It's like this big old metal grate with a bunch of locks on it. And so what we end up figuring out is that we need to use Yonobo's special powers, and he's been called this whole way by a sage, kind of like Toolin was.
Oh,
and we just lost Cam.
He's typing. Oh no. Well, too much bandwidth.
I mean, if he's typing, he's on it.
He might be on his phone.
Yeah, he might be. Hey, we got Cam back.
Cam,
it's me again.
Nice. So where did we lose you? Was it right about when we were talking about the locks on the door?
No, it was before that even. It was like right as we were going down into the depths, I think, like after we beat the boss explaining the mechanics of Yonobo.
Oh, so me and Anthony had a whole conversation about fighting some bokoblins and getting to the temple without realizing.
Yeah, no, I was not there for that.
Okay, we got the dump of you leaving after we got to the fire temple, so Discord still thought you were here.
Wow.
Yeah, it does that. If you lose internet connection, you stay in for like 1 to 1.5 minutes before it actually kicks you out for the other people to notice.
Wait, so Cam, you didn't hear like the Toolin thing with like the... I thought you were here for the Skyrim bit.
Oh, I was here for the Skyrim bit.
Okay, so yeah, then I think we could probably start with us like going to the fire temple because he caught all that other stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, you
Okay.
guys can just keep going. I'll catch back on.
Yeah, it's fine. We talked about, just real quick, we talked about Zelda getting Garrett into the ceiling with all the marbled rocks. And then we talked about, like, I was just getting to how there's a door with 5 locks. So
And the mysterious voice again.
Yeah, and how Yunobo's been led on by a mysterious sage voice.
Secret Stone?
Well, we haven't gotten there yet. All right.
So takes on the dungeon, guys.
Yeah, so we eventually find out that in order to open these locks, we have to do the sage thing where we use Yunobo's power to ring gongs, I think it was.
Yep.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, and every time you ring a gong, another lock undoes. So we're back to our 5 terminal game.
Yeah.
We gotta explore this network of towers in order to find these 5 gongs. It's pretty good stuff.
It is. It's fun. There's a lot of rail riding. There's a lot of like using Yunobo's launching ability to flip switches to change the rail tracks to different directions. Sometimes hitting switches that will make parts of the rail flip so you can get to other areas, or raise them up so you can get to higher areas.
Yeah.
Just the way you explore this is very fun at first anyways. It kind of, after I was here for like an hour, I was like, I kind of wish I could just go where I want to go and not have to ride around in this pattern of rails to get there. But in the beginning, at least, you're like, this is awesome. And I'm sure if you beat it fast enough, it would still be cool by the time you left and wouldn't get a little cumbersome. But you also don't have to really do any of that for a lot of it, because you can climb in this game in the temples, unlike the divine beasts in the last game. So if you get stuck and you need to go up, I mean, you can go up.
Yeah. One of the first things I tried was to go to a switch that was at the top of the tower, or one of the towers, but it was inside the tower and there's no openings other than the actual door at the bottom. And so I got kind of frustrated with that because I thought I was going to break my way in. It just wasn't an option. And so I started looking for other towers. I want to say at least 2 of them, I didn't really need to rely very heavily on the rail system. I just kind of rocketed and climbed my way around.
Yeah.
But the other 3, I felt like one of them you had to be riding a rail just to hit it. Like it was one of those things where you were like on a loop.
It's like the
track.
square area.
Yeah. And there was one where there was times in here where it was just more convenient to use the rail system because I had to go from tower to tower.
I did that totally differently, I think. The square area one. Is that the one where there was, because there was a ramp that was made on the ground, and that ramp led up to some rocks that had like just some hydrants there. And what I did is I used the solidified lava that the hydrants make and created like a stack of them so that I could make a steeper angle to the ramp. And then I just launched him off the ramp up to it instead of being on the cart, which I'm sure you could also do. I did have that thought, but I'm like, I want to make a big ramp.
I did a big ramp too at some point.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I didn't hit any of the gongs while I was on a cart.
Maybe it was a switch that I had to hit. There was some section of this where I had to go around on a track and try to hit something with Yunobo that was critical to moving forward. I don't remember if it was actually a gong or if it was just a switch to get to a gong.
I remember there was a track, I think towards the very side of the dungeon, where you would have to like ride up a ramp and then like hit a certain switch in time before your minecart like got up to it to like open the gate.
Yeah, that one was a pain in the butt.
Yeah, that one definitely caused me frustration.
Because like the track was there, but it wasn't like completed for you because it was like tilted and you had to tilt it and you could see the switch, but it was too far away unless you had one of those long range bows, which I didn't. So I had to put the fan on the cart and then get it just far enough up and then stop the fan so that I didn't fall off into the lava again, because I did that my first time. And then right when you're at the peak about to reach the point where you're falling off, you need it to slow down and stop. And then that's when you shoot the switch with your bow, which then completes the track and you can keep going. Yeah, that one was kind of a pain in the butt for me.
Yeah. I think I somehow hit that thing with Yonobo, and I don't know how now. Because I
I
remember
tried launching
doing
Yonobo
that.
at it a couple times, but I missed every time with him.
I think now that we're talking about this, I think my biggest complaint about this dungeon was the enemy variety because it was all just construct soldiers.
Yes.
And that felt like a cop out.
Yeah.
There wasn't even a single Keese, bro.
Right?
It's the
Keese
fire
would've
temple.
Definitely been there, like taking up roost.
You just expect better. You just expect more. I want fire enemies. What are you doing?
Like what I'll say about this dungeon, which I've definitely, I think, at least told you, Fonz, was the dungeon for me felt like, between so far we've only done the Wind Temple and then this temple. If you stick to the track, no pun intended, to this temple, I feel like it's the most, like, it kind of reminded me of the previous fire temple with all the rooms or like just the previous dungeon in like the Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask. Like there was like rooms and it was very linear if you followed the path. Or you could just make up your own path like we all did and have fun with it. But I do feel like they at least kind of like veered away from the Divine Beast feel for this dungeon, which was what I liked about it. Even though the enemies sucked.
Yeah, I did like some of the like we talked about the ramp, building a ramp in order to launch Yunobo, and that was kind of I feel like that was a theme because there was another area where they kind of provided you the ramp a little bit more directly, so they kind of hinted like, hey, you can do this with him as well. You can send him around terrain and he'll react to it. And then they were like, now you can build a ramp to do it yourself. Like stuff like that I find really cool because it really game's trying to teach you how to use an ability even better or more effectively by adding some of your own creativity into the mix. That and some of the rail riding puzzles I feel like did enhance it, even if I didn't always rely on them. Like there were a few workarounds I was able to come up with, but it was a good balance where I felt like I had the freedom to choose what I thought would be more effective or what I thought would be, more efficient, I guess.
You could say they didn't railroad you. Okay. I apologize.
It's all good, man. But yeah, good design overall.
I agree. I had fun.
Cool. So do we want to jump over to this boss room?
The callback of the century.
Callback of the century.
Because I mean, the last one was actually technically last century, so technically it is like. I'll stop.
Okay.
1998, guys, or was it 96?
It was a different millennia.
I don't actually remember now. Was Ocarina of Time
There
96
was-
or 98?
Ocarina of Time was 98.
Oh, okay.
But I have to say that Wind Waker was like 2001.
Oh no, and that did have one of these guys.
And that had one of these guys.
Dang
If
it.
you didn't think that the Legend of Zelda series had enough Gomas,
We
There's
got another
one
one for the
more.
pile.
Really don't though. Gomas are cool and really great, like just enemy design in general. And I'm glad that they brought it back.
And it's marbled.
it's marbled. It's the marbled. It's the scourge of the fire temple, the marbled Goma. And it is a big old walking platform rock with four legs. I think it's four legs.
4 legs.
Yeah, it crawls around like a spuda.
It's a big old rock with a big old eyeball in the middle of it, and it's got 4 regenerating rock roast legs all coming out of it.
Yeah,
And if you've
A lot
been
to look
mentally
at.
present for this dungeon temple at all, you know that Yunobo can roll into them things and get them out of here.
yeah. That's I mean, that's definitely how I fought it this time. It's just a lot of Yunobo hitting them legs because if you hit 2 of them, he'll collapse and you can just jump up on his face and start hitting him in the eye.
See, I didn't actually ever do a melee attack on this guy. I just stood in front of him and put black bokoblin horns on my arrows and just with a Lionel bow that shot 3 arrows at a time.
Wow.
I don't hit eyeballs with melee attacks. I see an eyeball, I'm shooting that all day, every day.
Oh, man.
That's all I do.
Robin
All
Hood.
right. the game gives you the option. 'Cause if you knock his legs out, he does just fall right to the ground, so you can climb right up on him. I think if you knock one leg, he gets stunned long enough where you can ascend up through and get to the eyeball that way. Or if you manage to find yourself up in the air for whatever reason, you can just straight up shoot that eye and stun him like immediately. I'm pretty sure.
I did that once because you can run up. This room is like a giant circle. So I ran up the edge far enough and turned around, jumped, and then went into airtime and just shot him without doing the whole Yunobo thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to mess with this marbled Goma.
And he throws giant marble rock roast balls at you that explode in long enough time that you have more than enough time to get away from them. It takes like 8 to 10 seconds for them to blow up.
Yeah, you can recall them and they'll go back up. Or I mean, you can just ultra hand them out of your way if you want. I did stick 2 of them together, and then I have them in my auto build so that I can just pull them out. But for some reason, by the time I built them, they only had like maybe 3 seconds left on their timer. So if ever I use the auto build, they just kind of blink a few times and then explode.
Oh no!
But you can do massive damage if you just take these out and drop them on an enemy.
That's hilarious.
They only cost like 3 zonite a rock, so it's like 6 zonite for a big old powder keg.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I saw like a short of somebody who attached a marbled rock to a plank, and they just used it to crush things. It just like destroys even Captain Bokoblins, like the boss Bokoblins. It's like just one hit. You just drop it on them and they're done. It's like, oh wow, like it's just the heaviest item in the game, I guess. I don't know. And that's where I got the idea, but I don't even think that they're the right rocks for that. Like, I don't think if I drop these on anything, it's a one hit. I think that rock that they used for that was a different marbled rock. I don't know where that one is. So, yeah, it's nonsense. But yeah, I just carry around a big old marbled rock bomb with me at all times now.
That's nice. So then we go into the second phase at half health where Goma just goes up on the ceiling, and it's basically the same fight, except now you have to use Yunobo to roll up the sides and onto the ceiling to hit the legs instead of just right in front of you. So it's a little harder to hit them. He'll start throwing giant rings of rocks around you, so it's harder to get them out of your way. Before it was just, oh no, it's here, I'll just walk this way. Now they kind of encircle you, so you don't have anywhere to run unless you ultra hand them away, or I just used Yunobo to blow up like the 3 in front of me and then just run out.
Yeah. I think I tried to avoid using Yunobo just so that I could lift up one rock, get out, and then immediately use Yunobo on the legs again. If you use Yunobo to get out of the ring, then you have to wait for the cooldown. And that's like the only reason I didn't do that.
Yeah. It's like a 5 or 6 second cooldown.
Yeah.
But and in phase 2, you only have to knock one leg. Like, as soon as one leg is no longer touching the ceiling, Goma just falls right away.
Yeah, I think, and then just as like a fast forward real quick, when marbled Goma shows up in the depths, because that's something that bosses do in this game, usually it's on an arena that doesn't even have a ceiling. So it's just, you're just on the ground the whole time. So
yeah, I've already seen one of the arenas you can fight it, but that was obviously before I actually fought it, so it was just a rock.
Yeah, just some marbled rocks chilling in the depths.
Yeah, nothing sus here.
Yeah, but cool. We can knock this thing's health down. It doesn't really have any super cool animations or anything, but it goes down pretty good. And we unlock our next big sage cutscene for Yunobo.
Yeah, we get a heart container.
And the Zelda that went into the ceiling of this room does not show up again.
She gone.
Yeah.
She got squeezed.
She got squished. Just gone. But yeah, we get another nameless Goron sage wearing a mask. We get the secret stones.
Secret stone?
Imprisoning war.
Imprisoning war?
Yeah. We hear about how they tried really hard, but it didn't work. But then the princess of the day was like, "Hey, I'm gonna need your help in the mad future. So can you set up a system for the next sage?" And that's how you get your Nobo secret stone.
Woo.
And it really stinks that they tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it didn't really matter.
Aha.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So, on the subject of the secret stones. So, you remember how I think it was 2 episodes ago? Was it 2 episodes ago? We talked about the Rito.
That was probably like 3 or 4, honestly. I mean, we've been doing a lot of episodes.
Okay, so remember how I touched on the secret stones, like chakras and stone colors and all of that?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So I have some stuff, and it's interesting. And
Cool.
I did make a critical error last time, so I'm sorry for people. I had it backwards. I had originally thought that the way that Nintendo was doing things, that the creative team was doing things, was based on the position of where the secret stone is located on the sage. If it is intended that way, I don't see a connection with the location. I see a connection with the sage and the color. So position, I haven't found a connection, which I thought was a connection. So I do have an updated thing, and I will start with the Gorons because it's kind of crazy. So Yonobo's secret stone is red, and this lines up with the root chakra. Some key notes of the root chakra is being grounded, feel firmly rooted, planted in life. It's your ability to dig in, and your wheel of energy that's associated with root chakra is having a strong familial relationship, a feeling of home, and a sense of security. And it kind of goes on to say, just how calm and stable the root chakra makes people feel. But what I really thought was interesting was that it goes on to say, some of the mental signs of basically having your root chakra blocked, because if anyone does anything with I think it's Ashtavinda and some other things. Side note, I bought a Navy SEAL book, and they've been talking about yoga and stuff. I've been learning a little bit about this stuff.
Different kinds of meditation.
Yeah, so
there's actually so many types of meditation in the Indian culture, but here we just call it, in the West, we call it meditation, which is just basically sitting still with your eyes closed. And the term meditation doesn't really mean anything, because all those different forms that we don't know what they are because it's Indian culture and not ours are all for different purposes, and they all focus on different things and do different things for you.
Yes. So it's a big umbrella. It's very confusing. But some of the sort of base key features that a lot of I guess chakras play with, root chakra, is that root chakra, if your chakra is blocked, you may feel that you have an increased distractibility or a lack of focus, feeling exhausted, feeling lethargic, feeling stuck, an inability to take action. And then I just immediately was like, dang, them Gorons had all of them. So I was like, that directly, basically, if you think about it, it's like the Goron's root chakra was blocked because they had all of those symptoms. So you could say their root chakra was blocked, and then when you completed the situation and Yunobo gets the secret stone, they cleared the root chakra, and then the distractibility and the lack of, exhaustion and lethargy stopped.
The marbled block roast.
Okay. I'm just imagining Ganondorf, one of Ganondorf's minions, being like, "What are we going to do about the Gorons?" And he's just like, "We're going to block their root chakras."
That's great. That's great. So just to go on to Tulin, Tulin has the green secret stone, and that would be lining up with the heart chakra. So again, I messed up in the first episode with thinking it was the root chakra originally.
Because it was at his feet.
Yeah.
Understandable.
Yeah. So to my knowledge, it has nothing to do with location. It just probably was a good spot to tie something onto Tulin, to fit the secret stone. But Yeah, so it's an upper yoga. It's basically the bridge between upper and lower. It manifests everything. It's associated with love, compassion, and joy. And it also is grounded in creativity. And it's very much associated with air. And the free flowing nature of the heart is like an air within your body that keeps you going. And one of the biggest blockages of the heart chakra is if you feel lonely, you kind of hold grudges against people who are trying to just help you. You may tend to isolate yourself and feel the need to just do something. You feel frequently jealous. You feel overly defensive. You put yourself in the role of the victim when you're only trying to be better. And you also have a lack of forgiveness. And the main way to overcome the heart chakra is to learn that people will forgive you for your actions. And then it made me think of, Tulin going off on his own and being lonely, and he needed the forgiveness of like the Rito to like see his path. And yeah, so really cool that they kind of line up with like the color of what, they were given.
Yeah, hilariously, like, I mean, Tulin's like wind gust ability is something that he's kind of credited with having created himself. Like when you'd mentioned the whole creativity bit,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, he is pretty much a joyful kid most of the time. I could definitely see how, like, being kind of having solitude. Like, I don't know if he really needed forgiveness as much. But oddly enough, like when you were going through the description of what it's like to have it blocked, what I saw in my head was Rivali. I was like, my dude was playing the victim and trying to better himself all the time. Like that was like his whole MO was like,
Yeah.
like I don't get to be the hero even though I'm putting in all this effort and blah 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 me. And Tulin is kind of like, yeah, we know that he looked up to Rivali.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like that same attitude of like, well, I can do it myself, and people don't believe that I can do it myself, but I know I can do it myself, and yada yada. And then like going through that progression to the point where he was a team player and he was a lot happier for it and a lot more, connected with others. And I mean, like I think that the like some qualities were never taken away from him for the sake of the story, but I specifically him being more of a team player versus being the solo angsty teenager, like that part of his story I think is really relevant to that. That's really cool.
Yeah, I couldn't find anything about like the chakra being blocked and what exactly like happened to the Rito. I mean, the only thing I could really come up with was like if you have a blockage of heart chakra, you don't feel like you're loved and you feel kind of cold, but that's a stretch.
Well,
but it definitely lines up to Tulin.
Yeah, I mean they were isolated, right? I mean,
True.
everybody was
Oh
separated.
yeah, the bridge was blocked.
They were all going around trying to. The bridge was literally cut down. Yeah, okay, they have to rebuild the bridge, right? But that's not even where I was going. But that's kind of funny. But they were isolated by the storm itself, both from the outside world because not a lot of Hylians were even going that way. In fact, most of the people from the stable left, but also from each other because they were all taking on individual missions out in the cold. There were teams of up to maybe 3 going on food runs, right? But even those you didn't really see a lot of them, and the one that you did see was broken up because they all like lost track of Tulin somewhere along the line. So most of the Rito were really separated, which is really cool because not only does Tulin learn how to be a part of a flock, but by solving the storm, you bring the flock that is the Rito village back together.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So
man,
yeah, they really went in with chakras and like colors schemes this game. Just when you thought they weren't done with it, they're like, nah, we're back.
Color theory's back, baby.
So stay tuned to the next Secret Stone review.
Secret Stone?
Secret Stone. Cool. So yeah, I mean, there are a couple of things we could talk about other than this. I mean, I know if you go back to the town, you can find Yunobo and
it actually just
Pluto
warps
again.
you back to the town immediately afterwards.
Yeah.
And you see the rock roasts disappear straight out of the people's hands eating them. You see their eyes go back to normal afterwards, and everyone's like, what? It's like they just snapped out of the biggest funk.
Yeah, the fact that all the rock roasts disappear make me wonder if the whole thing was an illusion. Like these are just straight up I don't even know, like holodeck rock roasts.
It just made me think that the power behind the rock roast that was doing it, and I guess just like the physical form of the roast part they were eating themselves, was directly linked to Goma. Like that marbled Goma's life was like what was keeping those things going. And so as soon as marbled Goma was destroyed, everything that it was basically powering just kind of went away.
So do you think that Moragia was also living off of the marbled Goma, and if we had defeated the marbled Goma, Moragia would have died anyway?
I mean, I didn't really think about that, but yes, I do.
Wonder if anyone's ever
it
done
was
that.
a marbled enemy.
But I think, yeah, that is kind of a cool quote. Like, I wonder if anybody's ever just skipped ahead to that and did it. I mean, you need Yunobo to ring the gongs, but do you need...
Doesn't he like follow you anyway though? Or
I don't know
at
if
that
you can
point?
get him into the chasm without fighting Moragia.
Yeah, I think until you beat Moragia, he'll just wait on the mountain for you until you complete that. But my guess would be the game wouldn't explain it like that. If you did manage to do it first, it wouldn't be like, oh, Marble Goma was powering these, so they disappeared. It would just be like, you've already beaten the boss, so thus the trigger for you fighting Moragia would already be gone. So thus it would just disappear anyways because of game logic.
Yeah.
But then
Like
you can
Moragia
stretch
would
that to your own
exist if you never
purposes.
triggered Moragia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense to me. It's video games, man. What can you do?
And sometimes if you trigger a further cutscene, then the other ones just won't anymore, you know?
That does happen. All right. So, I mean, I talked to Bluto after this, and when they talked about the salamander lakes and how there's probably like an ancient treasure hidden in one of them based on some lore that they have in their back pocket. This is of course the direction that you get to find the Va Rudania helmet. This was the first of the sage helmets that I actually got, and I remember when I put it on and saw Yunobo wearing the Va Rudania mask, I was like, that's actually pretty sick. Kind of helps his appearance a little bit too. Like
he looks better with a mask on.
His outfit looks a little bit more complete when he has the sage mask on. It's pretty cool. But yeah, I mean that's what I got for this episode. I didn't really hang out too much more on Death Mountain. I did explore around the back a little bit to see gut check rock and some other features, but didn't find anything crazy.
There was it was sort of like a throughway cave somewhere towards Gutchet Rock that leads you to North Akala, and it's like a little throughway sort of cave dungeon. It's sort of long, and then at the end of it, it has Stalord. I think it's Stalord. It has a Stalord at the end of it, and then once you beat that, you're like basically in North Akala, and like that's sort of how I got to the next region.
Hold up, Stalord was like the Twilight Princess, big guy who's like straight up in the Spirit Temple. Like, what do you mean?
Stalnox, probably.
Oh, Stalnox, yeah, Hinox, yeah, Stalnox. Okay. Yeah, so there's like
there's a Stalord in this game.
Yeah, there's a big old Stalnox just chilling at the end of this cave. It was a pretty fun cave. It was different, and it takes you from basically like Death Mountain region to North Akala. So it's pretty legit. That's how I exited and got to a new area and continued the journey. Goodbye, Rock Roast.
And I haven't really done much of anything after beating the Fire Temple.
It's all good. You don't need to. But yeah, after this, I'm feeling like we'll probably do another adventure episode, right?
Yeah.
Probably be our next
Heck
guy.
yeah.
All right, cool. I'm gonna wrap this one up then. Thank you all for listening to our episode of A for No, B for Yes. Definitely had a lot of fun with this temple. Can't wait to get to our next one. But first, we're gonna go on some adventures. So definitely tune in the next few weeks for those. And we will catch you on the next episode of A for No, B for Yes.
Did you get all that?
Hello, Hyrule! We are your tour guides. My name is Pete.
And my name's Chris.
And this is Hello Hyrule, the premier Legend of Zelda travelogue podcast.
Every episode of Hello Hyrule, we tour a new location from the Legend of Zelda series of games.
In timeline order.
We take in the sights, the sounds, the plot, and the, I guess you can call it food.
And every episode, we ask the hard-hitting questions, such as, what does Deku Baba taste like?
Where did the magma go?
Is mind control a legitimate form of education?
Why would a goddess commission a robot dressed like a king?
And why are tad tones?
Pete, I think you mean what are tad tones?
I do not.
Oh, anyways, hop on board, join us here at Hello Hyrule, and, oh wait, no, Pete, no, please.
Excuse me, podcast.